Hello everyone, welcome to another channel update. This weekend I wanted to talk about, briefly touch on a subject that's been kind of haunting me a little bit over the last few months. I've been thinking about it more and more, and of course that's the difference between YouTube and Twitch. And not so much in the sense of the system or the services, more just in the difference between normal pre-recorded, edited Let's Play and a full live stream of gameplay. And I think we've been all seeing sort of an exodus, or people just stop doing Let's Plays as they did a couple of years ago, maybe, and not just in the main channels, but also in the smaller channels as well. Twitch is really a different system, I think, in regards to at least discoverability. I've been doing streams for I don't know, probably 4 months now, since November, I think, 4 or 5 months, and I've been mostly streaming The Witcher 3, which is, of course, a special game in terms of streaming. You don't really see too much of that sort of content on Twitch, because Twitch is more of a reactive kind of platform where you just react with your audience. And what I wanted to really kind of muse on is how much less you actually have on Twitch. And this is really something harsh. I think it's really something harsh to say, for me to say, because Twitch is really fun when the audience just connects with a streamer, and when you're able to bounce information off of, it's really so much more. But you can also lose a lot that. And I've been thinking this because I've been doing the highlights for The Witcher 3, which I hope you guys are enjoying. But it's something that I feel I wish I could do by myself, basically, because really the highlights for Twitch are nothing more than just, well, the interesting bits of the game itself. And usually that's what you do for a Let's Play. Come on, let's be honest. You just pick up the interesting bits, the stuff that you want to show, and leave out all the running around and upgrading your weapons. That doesn't really matter. Unless that's, of course, what the point of the game is. But The Witcher kind of, I made a sort of an executive decision, editorial decision more like, and to choose just to select the interesting bits. And it's something I consistently cut out. It's just the interaction with the audience. Well, there's a couple of highlights where I don't do that, I think. But in general, that's something I cut out. And that's something that I really have a lot of fun. And I think that the audience also has a lot of fun. When I watch a stream, I also like to see the YouTuber, or the streamer, not a YouTuber, but the streamer, it could be on YouTube, of course, but the thing is, I like to see them react to the audience as well. So that's something that I think is really hard to get into the highlights, unless you're just a magical editor, I guess, and just have a lot of time to just pour through all of that, and also have very good content to begin with. But the thing about Twitch that I really feel is missing from, the thing that I think is missing from Twitch, or from streaming, is basically, it's like a studio album, okay? So you listen to music, you listen to the studio version, and maybe the live version has a little bit more soul, maybe it has a little bit different sort of thing, but in general it's gonna be lower quality. It's not gonna have the same sound effects, it's not gonna have the same things, on the studio you can make music sound better. And of course, music is art. It's not what we do here on YouTube or Twitch. It's just entertainment. But it's still a little bit like that. It's I think the thing that's missing from Twitch is the edibility, basically. So listen, it's tough to just show up on a stream and hey, this guy's entertaining. Because he's not going to be all the time being entertaining. There's going to be lulls. There's going to be, especially if it's just a busy game where you just have a lot of jokes going around. There's going to be matchmaking. There's going to be parts where the game is loading or he's off to take a bathroom break. And you're losing. You're losing constantly those people. You open a stream and you're just like, okay, this guy's on a bathroom. Let's watch the next stream. And on YouTube, that's not the same. Because you can edit the quality right away to just deliver as best that you can, hopefully as best you can, on the Let's Play. So I think that actually, long term, is gonna make sure that YouTube stays very relevant. For me, it's gonna stay very relevant. I don't think I want to stop doing what I do on YouTube. in favor of Twitch. Not only because it's really hard to grow on Twitch, it's extremely hard, but I also I think it's harder than on YouTube. But the thing is, what I really feel is missing is the discoverability, and one of the reasons why I do what I do here on YouTube is to let people know about role-playing games, and I think I've done a good job at that. Well, it's not good enough. It's never gonna be good enough, but I think some of you guys have told me that you found games that you wouldn't have otherwise, and every single person of you that finds a game that you wouldn't have otherwise because of me, then that's my job done. That's my job very well done. I love that. I absolutely love that, guys. You sometimes tell me that you've made me finish this game that I've never finished. Awesome, that's great, because that's what I started YouTube for. It's just because not a whole lot of people do RPGs, and there needs to be more. There are people, of course, but the more, the merrier. So I think Twitch doesn't really have that. So that's how I feel about Twitch. So what's been going on this week? Well, that's same as usual, I guess. No new releases, no new Let's Plays. Oh, well, there's been a bunch of releases, but not games that I personally play. So, yeah, I want to talk about Morrowind. I said in a couple of episodes ago, I think, that there's still going to be, I think I said it last week, there's still going to be about 100 episodes still to come from Morrowind. That's a huge series. It's been 200 episodes plus now. But I think I'm seeing now the Tribunal expansion, and also my character is so powerful. I think it's not gonna last as long as I initially thought. Well, not initially, but last week was thinking. Maybe it's not gonna last as long, and I'm really excited for this little bit of Morrowind right now because it's just very content heavy, just in terms of the story and all that sort of stuff. So, I don't know. I think that might come to a close faster than I thought it was, because we're just going through it. We're absolutely crushing it. Oh boy. But speaking of a series that are gonna end, well, Morrowind is still gonna last a few months, but I think because we still have the other expansion, Stasis is coming to an end. Yes, I think I released it. Let me just check over here. Yes, I released it yesterday, the 18th episode of Stasis, and what a interesting little game right there. It's not I think in terms of a gameplay, it's really not up my alley. I need to be honest on that, but I don't think that actually hurts Stasis. Stasis is the sort of game that you play through a couple of times, but not for the reasons that you would normally do with other games, because it's not for the gameplay. Stasis is good because of all the interconnections of the characters, and the ending was, I think, perfect for what the game actually is. We're just figuring out, it's a puzzle of the people that live in there, and figuring out their purposes, and figuring out why they do what they do. And because they are, not all that, of course. I mean, they talk to us through the game. Some people do, but a bunch of people don't. And the game, I think, really has a couple of high points, but for me, what marks that game, not only is it just a fantastic soundtrack, fantastic sound engineering, but I think it's just, it managed to build very interesting characters, I feel, without actually showing them. I think the game would have been better if it showed the characters. Actually feel that the game with a bigger budget and a little bit lengthier would have been a absolutely must-play game. As it stands, it's a really, really good game. But for people that are not into sci-fi, I think it's not really, it's kind of meh. But if you're into sci-fi, I highly advise you check out Stasis, because that game is awesome. But yeah, speaking of Stasis, not this week, wait a minute. So today is the 12th? Yes, today is the 12th. So in 12 days, Battle Brothers is finally coming out. Yes, the final release of Battle Brothers. For those of you who have been with me for a very, very long time, you might remember, or you might have seen the Let's Play of Battle Brothers that I did. I started it still on the original version, I think, because I've been playing the game since release, actually, on the early access. But Battle Brothers is finally coming out. If you don't know Battle Brothers, it's basically team-based, turn-based sort of exploration, combat. You're basically a rogue, a band of mercenaries, and that's how you play the game. And it's awesome because it's really, really tough to figure out how to pull the best out of your characters, and I don't think I've ever done that. I don't think I'm good enough to play it properly. But the thing is, I plan on learning it. I've been playing it on and off every once in a while. But now with the final release, it's gonna have end game content and all that sort of stuff, and you can count on a Let's Play. Probably just gonna take the place of Stasis. Of course, it's probably gonna release way more often. But yeah, looking forward to, well, still not this week that's coming up, but the other week, because it's 12 days on. It's the Friday after the next one. That's Battle Brothers. Yeah, looking forward to that. Looking forward to that. So what I've been watching this week? Well, I've actually been rewatching again. No, not again, but I've been rewatching a critique of the game Soma. Some of you might know I've played that game on the channel here. I did it with a face cam. It was more of a challenge sort of thing, and I think it really played well into the game. Soma is the sort of game that you don't it's again, like Stasis a little bit. It's the game that you don't really play for the gameplay. It's not a very scary game in particular. It can scare you, but it's more, the scary part of the game is really not what the game excels at. And what I've been watching this week is a critique by Joseph Anderson, links down in the description. A critique of Soma. It's actually a lengthy video, but I think it touches on all the fantastic spots that the game really excels at. Soma is the kind of game that screws with your preconceptions of who you are. More than anything else, it's just who you are. And I've watched that series. I've watched that critique because I was watching a Let's Play of Soma, where the Let's Player kind of didn't connect with the character, with the main character at all, on a fundamental level. And I'm not gonna spoil anything for you. And if you haven't played Soma, I highly advise you do, or check out my Let's Play, and then check out Joseph Anderson's critique, because he just touches on everything that makes that game absolutely fantastic, and I highly advise you check it out. So if you know Soma, go and check out that critique. So again, thank you so much for all you guys' support, for watching, for liking, for commenting. This week I wanted to thank my two newest patrons. So that is Benji Namiknur. He's very, very generous, and he started supporting me this month. And also Casper KJ Jorgensen, who started supporting me last month, but I unfortunately missed him from my thanks on last week's video. So thank you very much for supporting me on Patreon. If you are interested in checking it out, there's a link in the description as well. It's just patreon.com/KernelRPG. I'm still doing the whole Patreon thing. It's on an early stage. It's been on earlier stages before, but I'm really thinking on a few reward tiers, just to try and reward people for going a little bit beyond. I mean, just $1, it's just completely above and beyond the Call of Duty, really. Thank you, thank you guys so much for all the support. But yeah, I want to set up some rewards there. I want to go maybe with a Discord server. I don't know how successful that's gonna be, because I'm pretty small, so it's going to be a couple of people in there, well, I'm still debating what I'm gonna do there. But if you have any ideas, you of course can let me know, and I would appreciate that. Although I do have some sense of the direction I want to go in, and I also want to support, as last week, Jordan Cozart, Michael Grayson, actually, not Grayson, Grayson, Higher Ground Gaming, Robert Dafford, Rob Anybody, and Paul. Sorry, Paul. Sorry, I added a B at the end of your name. Paul Bible. Thank you guys so much for being with me and for supporting me on Patreon. So for this weekend's quote, I would like to quote Aristotle. It's kind of a big name. You guys, you might have heard of him. So Aristotle has a very interesting line in one of his many works. I don't know which work it is from, but I think it's relevant to what I mentioned this week about Soma, about the notion of who you are, and it's something that's really relevant for freedom of speech, for acceptance of the other, and for especially discussing the ideas that you're not necessarily comfortable with. And the quote goes like this: "It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it." Thank you so much, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.